What's going on, my friends? Chris here. I want to bring you all an update today of Bitcoin. Right now, we're sitting at $55,136, down about 1.31%. What I want to do is really look at Bitcoin on the one-day time frame here, guys. I think we really need to dig into this price action and see where we're at in this market cycle. One thing I wanted to do today was basically step back. We're going to look at the dollar, we're going to look at Bitcoin, and we may even get into the Wall Street cheat sheet. And what I want to do is kind of take a peek at where we're at in this market cycle. You know, guys, if we step back and we really admire where we've been this market cycle, take a look back here. This was $20,000. Look at where we're at right now. And one thing I wanted to ask you guys, do you feel like we're in the thrill stage, the euphoria stage? Where do you feel like we're at? Because what I don't like to see here, I don't want this to turn into some little bear flag here if we end up having a break down through this area. So I would draw a trend line like that. You can even draw something on the top here like that. And what we don't want to see, guys, is another leg to the downside here. So if we do end up having a big break out of here, next major area we're going to look at is around that $40,000. Okay, not saying that has to happen, but that's something that I'm paying attention to because, guys, that could be a great buying opportunity down in here depending on what's going on. We'd have to see what the price action's looking like. But, you know, anything in this space can happen. I think a lot of people aren't prepared for downside action. You know, there's been a lot of new money coming into this space. I even had someone ask me if it's time to buy Dogecoin the other day. So for me, when I start hearing that type of stuff and you got, you know, people trying to explain cryptocurrency to you because I don't really talk about it much, it gets a little concerning. And for Bitcoin here, right now on the one-day time frame, our volatility stop is going to be sitting at about 52,268. And the reason for that is if we lose this higher low right here, most likely we're going to be going down to those lower areas of about $48,444 would be the support area that I'd look to see. But right now we just have to be more cautious in this range. You know what I'm saying? You got to be a little bit more defensive and you have to pay attention to what's going on. If we get into the line graph here, just really take a look here, guys, how parabolic we've been. We have to step back and appreciate where we've been here. Take a look. So previous market cycle right here. And then this is where we're at now. I mean, look at these gains, guys. This has been incredible. So since the all-time high, if we get our price action out here to where we're at now, we are looking about 180% over top of the previous all-time high. And we've been as high as about $64,000. You know, guys, while price action was going up here, do you see price action here? Look what we can actually do on the relative strength, right? And you can see that divergence. So it's definitely just something that I'm paying attention to. You can see these longer bars up in here of the selling pressure. It almost looks like some people are distributing right up in that range there. Now, in the shorter term, we're trying to hold these higher lows, right? So in the macro sense, we're still in a bull market, okay? In the shorter term here, right here, the micro trend, we're still in an uptrend as of today. And then I would say in the intermediate term, we're in a downtrend. And we've basically, since we topped, if we grab our date range here, it's roughly been almost a month since we've been basically in this downtrend now. And what we don't want to see, guys, and that's why basically when we're always paying attention to trends here, if we did have something like this, right? And then we bounce back up to here, lower high, and then you guys know the story, right? So we have to be prepared for that to the downside. And we really have to protect positions. Now, if we do this to the upside here and say we can hold this, if we draw something like this, we come up, basically test maybe that 64,000 or so, back test 60,000, and then we go up into the $70,000 range. That's definitely a possibility. But guys, right now in this range, I believe a lot of traders are sitting back, and what they're doing, they're waiting to see what's going to happen with Bitcoin here. So as we've been ranging, I would say the main range has been from about 48,000 up to that 64,000. But right now, this is a sticky spot. A lot of people are just getting whipsawed around in here to take a position until we have that clear direction. People want to trade in this right here, this clear direction. See these upside moves? And another thing that was just a little bit concerning here, as we've been having our higher highs, they've been getting a little bit lower. Okay, we're not having that big reach back here from 40 all the way up to 57. Then we went from 57 up to about 61, then up to about 64, right up in that area. Now, if we get into the technicals, and I would love your guys' opinion down low. And also, if you get some from this, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and let me know where you think we're at in the market cycle, guys. Do you believe this is the start? Are we in the distribution top here, and this is going to be a serious downtrend that we're going to be starting? Or is this just a longer corrective period before we make that next higher high, potentially up around that $70,000? And this is something, guys, here, as we take a look at the technicals, obviously they don't lie here. On the 1 day time frame, we're getting more neutral. You know, just that area of people are undecided right now about where Bitcoin's going to go. So we're having an 11 sell, a 9 neutral, 6 buy oscillators, 2 sell, 8 neutral, and a 1 buy. So mostly neutral here. Momentum's going to be a sell. MACD level is going to be a buy. Bull bear power is going to be a buy. And then you can see in the shorter term, the 10, the 20, the 30, and the 50 here, we're actually having sell signals. We're trading below that on our moving averages. So if we turn on our moving averages, just want to point this out. I like to use the 20, the 50, 100, and 200 EMA. So today is going to be a very important candle close for us. First of all, we're looking for that higher low. If we can keep that right there, we don't want to drop below that area, right, guys? Even if we came down to this area, this could still be a higher low, and then we could go up to try to set that higher high. But you can see we've had some decent selling pressure coming in yesterday. But right now we are below our 20 and our 50. So we would need a daily candle close back up above those to try to stay up above them. And all throughout this uptrend, guys, one main thing I want to point out too, when we were having these uptrends, we were basically retracing back to the 50. And then we get a nice bounce again. Back in here was to the 50. This time it was a little bit deeper. It was back to that 100. Okay, so a little bit deeper correction and what we don't want, right? That big impulse wave down, and then a reaction up, and we don't have massive volume, right? And then another big slam down on heavy volume, even to that, 200 moving average. Guys, anything in this space can happen. And when people are talking about dog coin and everything else, there's a lot of new money that's came into this space, and, they haven't really gotten the big slam yet, which happens in this space. I mean, even from up here when people were going, oh, it's about to go to 100,000 or whatever. Take a look, guys. Look at the price range. You're talking about a 30% move. Some markets won't move that in an entire year, and this is just a move here. So these are things that we have to be aware of as we're watching. Now, one thing I always like to pay attention to is the dollar. Guys, you always have to pay attention to the dollar. Let's see here. And guys, we're going to go into... Here we go. All right, so for the dollar, the weaker the dollar is, the better Bitcoin typically ends up doing. So right now, what I would do for the dollar, I would draw this downtrend line first, okay? Because if the dollar does start to gain a little bit of strength and break through some of these areas, then a lot of times I'll put pressure on Bitcoin, okay? But we're at a critical area. This is an area, if we don't find support here and we drop a little bit lower, that could help Bitcoin. Next area, we're looking at about 89. Then let's see here. Main area of support, about 88, right down that range. I mean, this is a clear downtrend here. You can see obviously lower highs, lower lows that have been coming in here, but this is the spot now. We're going to see if there's any type of reversal taking place. Guys, if we get out to the week for the dollar here, take a look. And what I like to do is follow trends. So you can see, guys, here, lower highs, lower lows, right? And you could put a trend line right here. Just want to show you a few things while we're doing this. Put a trend line here, and here's the breakout. So that's what we have to watch for. If this continues to fall, I think it's going to help Bitcoin. If we start breaking up through there, it could put a little bit of pressure on us. So it's always something you want to pay attention to. I mean, with all the money printing, guys, you can see the inflation, everything taking over. So, I don't see the dollar doing well, but it can always get these bounces and it can get these movements. And that's something we do have to be aware of as we're looking at Bitcoin. Guys, if we bounce back to Bitcoin, I want to point something else out. This really long wick up here. Okay, a lot of the times you can even see this longer wick, and then we had this corrective sell-off here. We've had a lot of wicks up around this range. So let's even bring this down to the candle, looking about $60,000 right there. So this has been a spot. Even today, we're going to have to see where the candle closes, but that almost looks like another push up, and then you have some tweezers right here. You know, if we were to get a correction back down, the 20 EMA is going to be at about 47,000. Then it's going to be right around that 40,000, guys. But what I would just want people to do is be aware. That's the main thing. I'm not saying this has to be the top here. We definitely could have another beautiful move to the upside. You know, we haven't really had our climax volume top yet, and that still may be to come. But as the market cycle progresses, it gets riskier to continue to hold. Okay, what a lot of guys like to do, they like to go at this point almost into some cash when Bitcoin's doing this, and then they can patiently wait for the direction of the movement, and then they can trade with that direction. Okay, so this is just an area to be a little bit more cautious, guys, I guess is what I'm going to say throughout this video. If you get something from this, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. God bless you all. Take care.